Presearch Privacy Reviews is a series dedicated to reviewing the privacy of all the biggest tech companies. We hope to give you the information you need to enhance your own privacy and make educated decisions that companies would rather you avoid. On today's episode, we're going to cover GitHub. GitHub is a web-based hosting service for version control using Git. It's used for source code management by both amateur programmers and corporate teams alike. GitHub haven't been directly involved in any data breaches themselves. On June 4, 2018, Microsoft acquired GitHub for $7.5 billion. This was incredibly worrying to the developer community, who isn't worried about Microsoft screwing something up, and led many to think that Microsoft were going to use the menagerie of code information available to them to predict future software and user trends. Today though, we're just going to go through their privacy statement, and as always, I've pruned the most interesting parts for you to digest, with a rating at the end. The first section is what information GitHub collects. GitHub splits the information they collect into two categories: information from users who browse the site, and information from users who have user accounts. If you're just browsing the website, they collect the same information most websites collect, namely cookies and web server logs. They expand on this by listing visitors' browser type, language preference, referring site, additional websites requested, the date and time of each visitor request, and potentially personally identifying information such as an IP address. This is done through Google Analytics, which you can block with extensions such as uBlock or NordVPN. The information they collect from user accounts is also pretty basic, namely your username and password. You have the option to give more information about yourself in the user personal information section. However, this is entirely voluntary and not required. Users can include a real name, a photograph, location, and biography if they wish to. They state that user personal information does not include aggregated, non-personally identifying information, such as the browser collection stated before. They use that information to operate, improve, and optimize our website. So far, everything seems standard and there is no cause for concern. The next section is what information GitHub does not collect. GitHub states that they do not intentionally collect sensitive personal information such as social security numbers, generic data, health information, or religious information. Although GitHub does not request or intentionally collect any sensitive personal information, we realize that you might store this kind of information in your account, such as in a repository or in your public profile. They go on to say, we do not intentionally collect user personal information that is stored in your repositories or other freeform content inputs. Information in your repositories belongs to you, and you are responsible for it, as well as for making sure that your content complies with our terms of service. Any personal information within a user's repository is the responsibility of the repository owner. This is genuinely refreshing to read. GitHub doesn't seek out or even seemingly encourage you to fill out personal information. They acknowledge that their algorithms may pick up personally identifying information from your profile, but don't even try to use the information from your repositories. They stay true to their word that your repositories on their servers are still yours. The information in them is yours, and they are entirely your responsibility. They expand on this in the next section. GitHub employees do not access private repositories unless required to for security reasons, to assist the repository owner with a support matter, or to maintain the integrity of the service. Our terms of service provides more details. If your repository is public, anyone, including us and unaffiliated third parties, may view its contents. If you have included private or sensitive information. If your repository is public, anyone, including us and unaffiliated third parties, may view its contents. If you have included private or sensitive information in your public repository, such as email addresses or passwords, that information may be indexed by search engines or used by third parties. In addition, while we do not generally search for content in your repositories, we may scan our servers for certain tokens or security signatures or for known active malware. The only time GitHub is ever allowed access your private repositories is in instances where you either consent their access for a support reason or for GitHub security reasons, such as a GitHub server exploit you're developing. This is fantastic in the sense that you can have a private GitHub repository that is basically your own little slice of private property on their land. And as long as you play nice, you won't have to compromise information on your developments. The last section is how we share the information we collect. GitHub says they share user personal information with your consent, so they can conduct their services. Their example is, if you purchase an integration or other developer product, they will share your account names so that the integrator can provide the service. They go on to list several things they do not do. We do not share, sell, rent, or trade user personal information with third parties for their commercial purposes, except where you have specifically told us to, such as buying an integration from the marketplace. We do not host advertising on GitHub. We may occasionally embed content from third-party sites, such as YouTube, and that content may include ads. While we try to minimize the amount of ads our embedded content contains, we can't always control what third parties show. Any advertisements on individual GitHub pages or in GitHub repositories are not sponsored by or tracked by GitHub. We do not disclose user personal information outside GitHub, except in the situations listed in this section, or if we are compelled to by law. The lack of advertising or selling of information is fantastic, and not providing information to third parties for commercial purposes is also great to know if you have a repository. You can use their service with the peace of mind that they are not harvesting your code for data to sell to advertisers. They do say, however, that we do share user personal information with a limited number of third-party vendors to process it on our behalf so we can provide or improve our service. They have agreed to privacy restrictions on our own privacy statement by signing data protection agreements. Our vendors perform services such as payment processing, customer support ticketing, network data transmission, and other similar services. When we transfer your data to our vendors under Privacy Shield, we remain responsible for it. They then included a list of their processors, which, while the processors include sites like Dropbox, Google, and MailChimp, who have horrific privacy pasts, the fact the information is cordoned under Privacy Shield limits the scope of that information harvesting. While it's worrying that they have to share the information with third-party processors, it's unreasonable to expect GitHub to develop all of their software in-house. Still, they could use more privacy-oriented services if they really wanted to. So what's the verdict? I have to say, I am genuinely surprised at how much GitHub limits themselves to collect information from users and repositories. I can imagine the information from repositories is an absolute goldmine, which is why Microsoft is buying them. And to exercise restraint in collecting that data is very commendable. I give GitHub a 4 out of 5 star rating, docking a point for their usage of third-party processors who are unfavorable to privacy. But it still remains that is a great rating for a site that has as much data at its fingertips as it does. This video is made for and sponsored by Presearch. Presearch is a decentralized search framework that doesn't collect your personal information. They provide access to over 80 different search providers, including GitHub, while allowing you to earn Presearch rewards just for searching. Even if you don't care that Presearch doesn't collect your data, they offer the benefits of all the best search engines combined for fast and convenient results. Go to presearch.org and start earning rewards today.